Hi everyone, it's Rhonda from Joy Junk Tea. Today I have a little project that I just have had in my head and tried it and thought that's just super easy and super cute. So I thought I would share it today. So I hope y'all are all having a good day and I just want to welcome you. So here is what I made. It's just these little shabby paper pumpkins and I made it from these huge coffee filters that I had found at a Goodwill. And I guess they're like a commercial size. And this is what they look like. They're just these huge coffee filters. So I measured them and they are right at 18 inches. So I found some, you have to buy like 200 and something to get them. But if you don't want to buy that many, then I'm going to try to put some of these in my shop in the next few days. So that they'll be available for people to buy just a few. But what I did is I kept picturing this because I've made pumpkins before with fabric. And I would always cut this huge circle and get pumpkins like this. But I thought I could coffee dye them and give them this really vintage aged feel. And it would also kind of stiffen them up just a bit. And then I could go from there, decorating however I wanted. And just stitch them up and then just put a little bit of lightweight cotton in them. And add some lace, tags, whatever, just to embellish them a little bit. And then I found these for the stem, and I think I got those at the Dollar Tree. So, you know, but my husband has cut some for me before that I've used for my pumpkins in the past. So they just make really cute little stems and super easy, super fast. So for this one, I just stamped it, and I'll show you my stamp. So this is the stamp that I used for that, and it's really big, so I didn't have to stamp it many times. But it's by Crafter's Companion, and it's the script collage. I'm not sure if you can still get these or not, but I'm sure you can find something similar. And so I just stamped it all over. It's not a real crisp stamp, and then I had to overlap, so you can't really even tell it's script on the bottom anymore. But I really like the effect that it gave, so it was just kind of experimental. And then I had these little tags that are from Sweet Pea Curiosities that were still in my stash. And these little label tags that were their definitions that were in my stash from my porch prints. So I think those just turned out really cute together. And I had this lace I found at the vintage shop and just kind of gathered it around there when I put the stem in. And I added some twine and I had rested some little jingle bells that had that perfect little rusty orange color for fall. So I think those turned out cute. And here in the center, I even had some of these little, I think they're by Tim Holt. Just these little pins that you can put a little photo or whatever in. You could use them as a place setting. And so I just kind of poked it down in this stem here, because the stems are not hard to poke into. And then you could use it as a little place setting, or put a little photo in your display of your decorations. So there's lots of options here. I also had these magnolia leaves that were painted gold. Looks like they were just spray painted, and someone made a little ornament out of it. But you could also do that with leaves that you have around your yard and just add it to it as a cute little leaf. And it wouldn't have to be this big, but it would make a really cute leaf. Whatever color you wanted, gold, silver, copper. So I just think there are so many options with this. And I used this big size to get this size, but I was looking, you could also use the regular size coffee filters or the extra large ones you can order on Amazon too, that I think are like 13 inches. So that would be here. So 13 inches would be to here. So that would still give you a pretty good pumpkin there. So there's lots of things that you can, lots of resources that you can find to do this with. And so these would make a really tiny little pumpkin. And I would probably line this with some kind of paper on the back just to strengthen it up a little bit and make it not quite so see-through. You could just cut an 18-inch circle or whatever size you wanted. You could also use a doily, and I think that would be pretty, especially coffee dyed. And I would just line the back of it too, since it is lace and has holes all in it. So I think just putting something on the back of it would be a good option too. You could also just cut an 18-inch circle or whatever size you wanted, like some packing paper or tissue paper. I have this beautiful tissue paper that came in a package I ordered, and I think this would be so pretty. Maybe even glued down to one of these big coffee filters. So I think that would just be so pretty. So let me just show you some other options to use with the coffee filters. This one I stamped with that stamp I showed you. This one I had a stencil, and so I just picked one phrase off of it and just repeated it around the edge because the bottom's not going to show, and you need a little bit of room at the top to actually stitch, and that'll be gathered. So our words may gather up and not be as visible, but I think it'll still give a cool effect. And so I also thought, what if I embossed one? That would be so pretty. So I just folded it up, and of course the center I couldn't get. It wasn't long enough to do the center, not with the embossing folder I used. But that's not going to matter because, like I said, that's on the bottom. But I just embossed it. I folded it up into this little narrow triangle that would fit in my embossing folder. And I ran it through there. Just have to be kind of careful so you don't tear it, go in too heavy. And I do have a few little spots here that had tiny little, where it kind of, the embossing went through a little too good. But if I need to, I can always go back and just double that, and that would prevent any more tears. So I may just glue this down when I do this one. But I think that would be such a pretty little pumpkin with that embossing on there. And the design just turned out perfectly to go all the way around the pumpkin. So, and then you could come back with some gilding wax or whatever you want to do. There's just so many options. And so when I get through with all of these, I will add some pictures to the end of the video. Okay, so let me show you what I did. So I'm going to take this one that I stenciled, and on the other one I used a thicker needle, and it actually made the holes a little bit too big. So I'm going to downsize to this skinnier needle, and I think that will help. And I just have some thin twine string here, and I've knotted the end of it. And so now I'm just going to take and put a hole through here, and I'm coming half an inch or so, a little more maybe, from the edge, just to give us a little bit of ruching at the top. And you could always do more if you like, but I'm going to pull that there, and then I'm going to flip it over and just start doing my little straight stitch around it. And so I'm going to go probably ½ inch to an inch around this way too. And you can kind of gather as you go if you want. If not, you can always gather when you're done. It may not let you gather if it's too stiff. And so I just do a really quick little stitch all the way around until I get done. And I'm trying to take care to not tear it any more than possible. And it will tear some, possibly whenever you gather it, but we'll just have to be very gentle. And that's where actually doubling these or lining them with another piece of paper would help. And with this size, you would almost have to line it with another one of these because it's so big. Or you could collage on it. That's another option. Hey, you could always collage on the front of it, and that would serve a dual purpose. It would decorate it, and it would also give it more stability. came out of the package with these tears on several of them, but that is not going to even matter. Once we start gathering it up, it won't be seen. And if it does start to gather, you want to make sure it gathers out and not in. And so now we're just going to hold on to our needle and our thread, because I don't want it to let go and lose it as I gather. And then we're just going to pull it on around gently. And then as you get it gathered up, you can keep going and spreading. And these are pretty thick, so you know it's not that hard to work with them. You just have to be a little careful not to tear them because of those holes that we've poked in it. Never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that I'd be making a pumpkin out of coffee filters, but here I am. Never in a million years would I have thought I would have found coffee filters this big. Okay, see, I just tore that right there. So I just pulled too hard on it. But that's okay. When we put the glue around the top, we can fix that. So perfection is not our goal here. Perfection is so overrated. And that has been a very hard lesson for me to learn over the past few years. But I'm getting there. And not just with creating stuff, but with thinking that I have to be perfect too. But that's very, very hard to do because none of us are perfect. It hurts to see our imperfections. It does me anyway. But I'm learning to accept myself just as I am and work to be better every day. And so we're almost there. And so here I can just kind of stop and start pushing out these sides that are stopping it from gathering up as well. Just kind of work with it. And I leave my needle threaded because I'll show you in a second. I go back through it a second time once I get it gathered up. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there and I'm going to go ahead and add some cotton, because I want to be able to get it in there. Now this is some that I had a pillow that was off my couch or something, and it was just not looking so pretty anymore. And most of the time you can't really wash those and them look nice anymore. So I just went ahead and pulled all the cotton out. And if I can't make it to Walmart, we have a dollar store close by. So sometimes I just go and buy the little $2 bed pillows at the dollar store instead of trying to go find some fiberfill. And that way I'm not spending a whole day in town. So those work just as well. But this is just stuffing out of an old couch pillow. Out of an old, just decorative pillow. And as I go, I start kind of stuffing it into the sides, because that's most of the time what I have trouble filling in. If I just stick it in the middle, it doesn't want to spread. So I just kind of make me a little hole in the middle and keep pushing outward. And then I'll come back and put some in the middle. Okay, so let's glue this together as tight as we can. See what we got. May still have to add some more stuff in. Get some more. You don't realize how much they hold until you start stuffing it. And this is a pretty big one, so. And I know it just looks like a scrunched up mess right now, but once you kind of get it together, then it makes the cutest little pumpkin. And I have really ripped that. So you know what that means? That means I'm going to have to go back through here. And I'm glad this happened, because that way we can kind of address this problem now rather than later. I think my knot, that's the problem. My knot is not big enough. My knot's not big enough. It's kind of funny to say. So we're just going to make it bigger. See if we can stop it from going through. Okay, let's try that. That's a little better. And I'll just tuck that in or cut it off. Go back through this again. So make sure the knot is plenty big. I thought I had it big enough, but I guess I didn't. Okay, we're going to put a little bit more on this side. So now I'm just going to go back through and catch those little gathered edges again. You don't have to catch all of them, but just the ones that are in line with where you're going. And I'm going to come above the other stitch just a little bit. And that's another reason why you would want to leave a little bit extra at the top. So I'm just going to go through and catch that. I'm just going to keep gathering as I go. And there we have it. Okay, so now that I've gotten that done, then I'm just gonna come through here and wrap my needle 3 or 4 times and tie it off. And so that's what we end up with. You can always go back and add more gathering stitches wherever it might need a little extra help there. So I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to cut my string now that I've tied off and been done with that. Okay, so let me put this away. And we're going to take one of these. This is how they come. And I'm going to make sure that's a good fit, and I think it is. So then I'm just going to take my glue, and I'm going to go around the bottom edge with it with a good coat of glue. You can use hot glue if you prefer that. Something that'll dry fast and catch it really good. And so I always put some on the bottom here too, just to kind of adhere to that cotton a little bit. And then I'm going to wedge it down in there and kind of squeeze it together here so that the sides catch that. And then I'm going to find us some lace to go on the top. So I have used doilies in the past just on the top here, So I think I'm going to cut out this little center flower, and that'll give me room to go over the top of that. Okay, so then that'll just slip right over that. And you can kind of glue it down a little bit gathered in there. And look how cute that is. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. And I'm going to kind of take and put my glue around the edges of this paper that is maybe not catching on that stem. And it'll all kind of come together when I add the doily and hold good. So and then I'm just going to kind of push it all together down in that little hole there so that it all catches the glue and holds the paper together. And there's that. Okay, so now let's figure out what we want to put on here, what we want to add. So you could use jewelry, you could use tags, which I have here. You could even just, if you didn't want to glue it or attach it with a safety pin, then you could always use a little clothespin and attach whatever you do. Twine. You could make a tassel, little hanging bow with pieces of seam binding or sari silk ribbon or any kind of ribbon. And you could make a little layered bow that would hang down like that, and you could use different colors if you didn't like those. I also have some jewelry, these leaves that are like jewelry pieces, and so that one might be pretty. Or even one of these that have the cutouts, or maybe this one. I think I like the copper. So let me just pull this apart. I'm just going to keep the little jump ring on it and just close it up. And then I can tie it on with a ribbon if I want. So I think I'm going to keep it really neutral. Let's see. I think I like this color. This color kind of stands out with the stenciling. So I'm going to cut me a couple of pieces to make a layered bow. So I'm going to go through the jump ring. And tie a little bow like that. A really cute little fluffy bow. And then I'll just glue that on right there. I'll check the design on my stencil and see if there's one side that shows better for the front. And I think it's this one, so I'm going to do it on this side. And you can shape it however you want and get it fluffed up. So I'm going to glue it right here, get it faced the way I want it. I'm going to put me some glue right here. And just glue that down. Just like so. So simple. And look how cute that is. And then you could always still add a tag if you wanted. So I'm going to choose this little tag and just cut another little strip here. And just loop it through. Like that. And now you could tie this on. You could attach it with a little safety pin. You know, there's lots of options there that you could do with it. You could even loop it around the little stem. But I think what I want to do is just to loop a knot there. And then I'm just going to take and shove it down in the side here, because there's still a little open in there. Just like that. And then there you go. So I'll just come back here and put a little bit of glue down in there to hold it. And just kind of pinch it up to it. And so there we have a cute, cute little coffee filter pumpkin. So I hope that was helpful. I'm going to keep making some more, and there'll be pictures in the video at the end. So, but that's the general idea. And just use your imagination. Use what you have. You can take and use anything. It can still be fabric. I just wanted to try making these with these huge coffee filters that were so fun. So I'm anxious to get started on this one as well. So I'll do that one off camera and come back and show you what I end up with. And I hope that you will make some and have fun with this for this fall season. Gather you up some cute little supplies, and actually you don't even have to stencil or stamp or any of that, because I really like the look of them, just copy dyed. But I think now that I've done a couple, I think I would go ahead and line these with another coffee filter, and that way you just have a little bit more stability and strength whenever you're stitching and gathering. So there you have my little shabby pumpkins I made from coffee filters. Y'all have a wonderful day, and I hope you enjoy making these. Thank y'all so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video. God bless.